This video is brought to you by Squarespace. This is the new Tamron 35-100 f2.8. And it's a beautiful lens. People really like their 35-150 f2 to f2.8, but it was more expensive. It was a little bigger, so they made it more compact, less expensive, lighter by almost a pound, and kept the same concept within an equally lovable camera. I'm gonna go over the specs and features of this, but I also think it's gonna be a good portrait lens, so I brought Kayla with me to do some portraits. We're in New London, Connecticut, so I'm going to simulate a vacation, even though this is my home, and show you what kind of photos you get with this. Also, you know, I previewed this lens on Instagram and some of you had questions, so I'm gonna answer some of your questions from Instagram about what this can do and what it's good for. But first, let's talk about my first impressions. Now, it's light. It's less than a pound, and that feels really nice. You know, it looks like a pretty big lens, but it's not. And also, it doesn't zoom out a lot. It's pretty small, compact, light, great for travel. It also has these Tamron grips that I love. They're like deep and rough and grippy. You could put sunblock on someone's back and then there's a dolphin, and you could just easily, even with sunblock hands, you could turn it. You know what I mean? Like, you could grind down like rough skin with this thing. That's how rough it is. And I mean that in a complimentary way. I also thought, like, this is a great focal length because I'm a 24-70 kind of girl for travel and everyday shooting. And I thought that extra reach to 100 is really nice, especially when you're traveling, because often you can't get close to the things that you want to. And so it gives you a little more zoom to get more versatility with your photos. That's my first impressions, but let's go over the specs and features about what this is really about. It's $900 for the Sony mount, $929 for the Nikon mount. Those are the two mounts it comes in, E mount and Z mount. Another thing is it's 4.7 inches long, a little bit longer for the Nikon version, and it's 20 ounces, a little bit heavier for the Nikon version as well. It's got a 67mm end for the filters. It's got this little custom function button with 1, 2, 3, and this button here. It does not have an autofocus manual focus switch, but you can program autofocus to this. Also, this lens is not stabilized, so we're going to test that out and see how it works with photos and video to show you if your body stabilization is going to be enough. That's going to rely on which camera body you have. So I have the Sony Alpha 1, it's got good image stabilization. We tested it on the A7S Mark III, so you'll be seeing that as well. It has 9 aperture blades, so we can see what it looks like with a starburst if I could ever see the sun again in southeastern Connecticut. And yeah, that's about it. So let's test it out and see how it does. This is a great portrait lens. It's 35-100, and it's got almost all of the focal lengths that I like for portraits. 35mm, 50, 85, 100, all at f2.8. This is an unedited RAW file, and I'll zoom in 200%, and you can see it's extremely sharp. 300% still sharp. It's not a variable aperture lens, so it stays f2.8 through the entire zoom range. Another thing is that the background blur in bokeh is really beautiful. The bokeh balls are nice and smooth. They don't have that onion ring effect, and they're nice and round in the middle. There's some cat's eyeing in the corners, but it still looks good. And also you have that lightness that we talked about before, so it's easy to carry around even though you have 100mm. Not to mention the autofocus is fast. When I'm taking pictures of Kayla, it's snapping onto her eye and it's working really well. So let's take some pictures here. So the rain is triggering my camera to think that my eye is there. And you can see at f2.8, it's blurring out the headlights to the cars. This background is pretty distracting, but with that nice background blur, I'm getting all Kayla and not all the cars and snow and garbage in the background. Cute. And you can see the versatility. I'm getting wide shots where I'm getting the bigger scene if you want to show some context, or you can zoom in at f2.8, blur out everything and have a nice simple background. And that's what's so nice about this lens, is that it gives you the option for many different looks without having to change lenses. This video is brought to you by Squarespace. So if you're taking pictures and you like sharing them, you should probably have your own Squarespace website where you can organize them by your favorite photos and not just your latest photos. So try it for free. You can sign up at squarespace.com/Chelsea and use the coupon code Chelsea to get 10% off. That also lets them know I'm doing a good job. Thanks, Squarespace, and thanks to you. All right, let's talk next about travel. We are taking portraits out here, but we can also imagine what it would be like to be taking a stroll through this place as a new town and getting all sorts of pictures. You might want wide shots where you're showing, all the different buildings. New London is a historic town. Or I might want to zoom into these dormers here and show the historic elements. So I'm going to do that and show you the versatility and why I like a zoom lens like this for travel. I typically have a 24-70, as I was saying before, for that reason that I like the versatility, but I love the reach of the 100 millimeters. So let's see what we get. I got zoomed out. I've got Kayla in the frame, and then I can zoom into the dormers, and the distractions of the city street are gone. All of the cars, all of the clutter. You don't always have to just take one photo. If you're traveling and you're on vacation and you're finding it difficult to photograph what it feels like, remember, you don't have to represent everything in one picture. I like to make collages. So if one thing is little historic details, take a lot of different shots and make collages and present them as a set. Because sometimes you need multiple photos to take a story. So close-ups of interesting doors or door handles or woodwork or cool stained glass, whatever you're seeing, don't be afraid to take it out of context, knowing that later you can put them all together again. Let's talk a little bit about video, because Tamron put some features in this specifically for video. So one of them is their focusing motor, which is super quiet, and that's the VXD focusing motor. I actually had to put my ear right up to it. You can hear the ocean in there. But really, even when I'm focusing, when I have my ear up to it, it's still quiet. So when you're taking video, you're not going to hear it zooming in and out. Another thing you want to consider with video is if it's focusing smoothly. So the focus acquisition isn't jumping around and jittery, it's very smooth. And you can see that in this sample footage where we're focusing on me in the background, and it's changing focus in a pretty and smooth way. I also tested focus breathing to see if when your focus is changing, if it's changing like the angle of view of your image, and it's not. So maybe like a tiny bit, but barely perceptible, and it's only if you're going from extreme ranges. So this has video features that make it really friendly. The video looks beautiful, and I recommend it as a video lens. Good job, Tamron. It does have some weather sealing, and that's great because we're all getting wet today in the rain. But let's talk a bit about image quality. So I'm taking these photos around town for practical real world pictures, but I also took some pictures of test charts. And what it uncovered is that this is a good sharp lens, but it does get soft around the edges a little bit. So here is the center of the frame, and then as you get out to the edges, it gets a tiny bit softer. That's pretty typical in a lot of lenses, and I think it's still usable and looks good. But overall, the image quality is great. Look at the pictures that I took of Kayla, look at the pictures that we took of me, and even walking towards the camera when we're testing the autofocus, it's getting me in focus a lot, even when I'm moving around. And I simulated sports with my pickleball paddle, and just to see what it would be like to get an indoor moving subject. So I could see this being good for basketball or something like that. So good autofocus, good image quality, some softness on the edges. You can see the bokeh too. It's really pleasing bokeh. It's smooth out of focus, like I'd said before. So overall, good. I mean, it's $900, so it's not gonna be like a $5,000 lens, but it's still, I think, imperceptible if you're posting online, any little minor imperfections that it has. Let's take some questions from the gram, because when I first got this lens, I made a reel. I asked you all if you had any questions, and I did kind of answer them within the review already, but I wanted to just address you directly. So the first one came from Joe, and he asked if it's sharp at the corners, and here are my examples here. It looks good. I had to zoom into like 100, 200%, and you can see that the numbers are a little bit fuzzier. So I'll take some real world pictures as well, Joe, so that you can see in practical terms what that means. Because often the test charts exaggerate the flaws, and then when you do it in the real world, you're like, that's fine. Nobody cares. Lachelle asked if it's good for sports. You can see me playing pickleball in my house, make believe, and the autofocus is good. It's f2.8, so it's a fast lens. It's got good low light capability, and it's 100 millimeters. So if you're doing like an indoor sport like basketball, I think it's going to be good. I haven't tested it with a teleconverter if you're interested in that, so maybe I could do that. And then our Kara Photography asked how it performs for video, and I did that video segment specifically, so it focuses really well. It has smooth autofocus acquisition. It's quiet, so you're not going to hear it making noise, and also it's f2.8, so it's going to be good in lower light situations, and some of that's going to depend on your camera body as well. So I hope that that answers your questions. Next, who is this for? It's for me. I really love it. I would take this on vacation in a heartbeat. At £1 and $900, you're not breaking the bank, so I'm not worried about bringing like a $3,000 or $4,000 lens on vacation. It's got great focal length, so I can take indoor pictures of my food. The minimal focusing distance is 8 inches at 35 millimeters, so I can get that close-up picture of like my sushi or whatever. And then also, if I want pictures of my family, 35 is great for portraits, 50, 85, 100. And as I already talked about, it's a great travel lens for going around town. If you resonate with those things and you like what you heard about the autofocus and everything else, I think you're really going to love this lens, so check it out. Thanks, Tamron, for sending this to me. And thank you, Squarespace, for making this video possible. If you want your own website, store, gallery, just a place to show off and flex your photos, check out Squarespace. Go to squarespace.com/Chelsea and use the coupon code Chelsea to get 10% off. See you next time. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, engage. Check me out on Instagram because you can ask me questions there about my next review and maybe you'll be a part of my video. So see ya.